So would you mind telling us about some of the
Well,
people that you worked with?
one of the great people that I worked with, of course, was Ray Charles, who I think everybody would have heard of. Probably one of the most important popular music artists of all time. And so one of the things that I was doing for him, apart from writing songs for him and arranging for him, was that I was conducting for him. And it's very interesting that the old school kind of feelings of some of these people don't necessarily coincide with what you'd expect. The first gig, I said, "Well, what tunes are we doing? I'd like to, know which." And he said, "Well, sorry, Mr. Charles just thinks of this what songs he wants to record on the set. So he gets to the rehearsal and he decides what songs he wants to do. He has over 400 songs in his 400 arrangements to choose from. So okay, so I got to the first rehearsal for the show, and I said, "Okay, could you hand me the arrangements? Just hand me the scores." They said, "Oh, we never bring scores with us." And I said, "What? There are no scores?" "No, we only take the parts, because our managers, Ray's manager, is afraid people will steal his arrangements. So he doesn't take the scores with him when he tours." So I said, "Well, how am I supposed to conduct if I don't have a score?" And I walked over to Ray and I said, "Ray, how am I going to do this?" He says, "Oh, don't worry, man, you'll get it." And I said, "I'll get it." But he said, "No, don't worry, it'll be fine." So luckily the drummer was very nice, and he said, "Look, just follow me. At least I know the tempos." And he said, not only that, he said, "Ray doesn't count anything off. The only count off he has is his right foot." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, he lifts he's playing the piano, he lifts his right foot, and that's your upbeat, and then the downbeat is 1. So he goes, 'See the girl with the red dress on,' and that's it. So that's all you have." He said, "But I can see his foot, so I'll give you the upbeat, and you can bring the downbeat. And I've got to conduct, a 20-piece big band. So it's kind of rough." So I had no idea what I was doing because I had no scores in front of me. I had no idea. I mean, some of the arrangements I, knew the records, but, So the second gig, I'm doing the same thing, and I tried desperately to look at the things and nothing, So by the fourth gig, this was now in Scotland, in Glasgow, and it was for the BBC. So I came up with an idea. I told my music supervisor guy, who was my assistant on the show, I said, "Look, as soon as Ray calls out the name of the tune, take the piano part, or the lead trumpet part, or the lead saxophone part, something, and take it outside." And I put a photocopier outside, and I said, "Just take it outside, have somebody else there photocopy the part, and then sneak it back into the room." Now, of course, Ray, as we all know, was blind, so he couldn't see me doing this. So now, as he's calling out all the tunes, I'm getting on my music stand one of the parts at least that I can follow. Now we do the rehearsal, and I'm marking out the parts, and I'm saying, this is where the brass come in, this is where Ray's solo is, so now I'm marking it all out. So at the end of this gig was great. I was able to conduct, I was able to do something. So the funny thing was that at the end of the gig, Ray comes up to me and gives me a big hug, and he says, "You see, man, I told you, you got it. I always knew you'd get it." And that was Ray Charles.
Awesome, Richard. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.